Hello friends, welcome to our channel. Many of you might have left your home to study in another city. You may be living in hostels or rented rooms near your college. Everything feels new, exciting, and full of freedom. But what if I tell you there's a hostel in Pune where one night every week becomes a nightmare at night, where students are warned not to sleep, not to step outside, and not to break the rules, because if you do something unknown, we'll make sure you never forget that night. This story is about a boy named Rahul who moved from a small town to Pune for his higher studies. He was a bright student full of dreams and excitement. When he got admission in a good college in Kothrud, his happiness had no limits. His parents also felt proud and hopeful about his future. They helped him settle into a nearby hostel so he could focus on his studies without any trouble. Everything looked normal and perfect at the beginning. On his first day, Rahul entered the hostel building with his bags and hopes. As he reached the reception, he told his room number. The receptionist looked at him in a strange way for a few seconds and then handed him the key. But before he could leave, she stopped him and said something that felt very unusual. She warned him never to step outside his room on Saturdays and not to roam inside the hostel before midnight. Rahul was confused. He asked the reason, but she simply said some things are better experienced than explained. Rahul ignored the warning and went to his room, where he met his roommate Ravi. They quickly became friends. While talking, Ravi also mentioned that he had received the same strange warning about Saturdays. Both of them felt curious, but decided not to think too much about it. Days passed normally, and everything felt fine until that one Saturday arrived. That day, Rahul went to college like usual, and later in the evening, his new friends invited him to a party. It was his first weekend in a new city, so he happily agreed. He forgot completely about the warning and went out to enjoy the night. Time passed quickly, and before he realized it was already very late. Around 2 a.m., Rahul finally decided to return to the hostel. When he reached the hostel, something felt very strange. The main gate was open, but the entire place was silent. There was no guard, no receptionist, no sound at all. It felt like the whole building was empty. Rahul slowly walked inside. The corridor was dark and quiet. His footsteps echoed in the silence as he moved towards the stairs. As he started climbing the stairs, he suddenly heard a soft sound. It was the sound of anklets ringing slowly from above. Rahul stopped. Immediately, his heart started beating fast. He looked up and saw nothing but darkness. Gathering some courage, he moved forward and peeked into the corridor. There he saw something that made his body freeze. A woman dressed in a red sari was walking slowly in the corridor. Her long hair covered part of her face, and in her hand she was holding a candle. The light from the candle was flickering, and the entire scene looked unnatural. Rahul remembered the warning. Instantly, fear took over his body. Trying not to make any noise, he slowly stepped back and began going down the stairs. But suddenly the sound of anklets became louder. It felt like someone was running towards him. He turned around quickly, but there was no one there. Only darkness surrounded him. As he tried to walk towards his room, his body suddenly felt cold. The temperature dropped, and he started shivering. A voice then came from behind him, cold and clear, saying, "This is not your time to be here." Rahul stood frozen in fear. Slowly, he turned around and saw the same woman standing very close to him. Her face was still not clearly visible, but her presence was terrifying. Before he could react, she moved closer. The air around him felt heavy and filled with fear. Rahul realized that this was not a normal human being. He tried to run, but his body gave up and he collapsed on the floor. The last thing he remembered was that woman coming closer and closer. His loud scream woke up everyone in the hostel. Doors opened and students rushed out. They found Rahul lying on the ground, unconscious. After some time, he woke up and saw everyone around him, including his roommate and the receptionist. Rahul immediately asked about the woman in the red sari. The receptionist looked at him with a serious expression and said she had already warned him. She then revealed the truth. Many years ago, a woman who worked in that hostel died in a fire accident on a Saturday night. She was wearing a red sari and tried to save the students during the fire, but lost her life. Since then, it is believed that her spirit still roams the hostel every Saturday night. Some people say she is not harmful and is trying to protect students by keeping them inside. Others believe that her presence is dangerous and unpredictable. No one knows the full truth. But one thing is clear: every student in that hostel follows the rule without fail. Rahul never broke that rule again. Some places hold stories that cannot be explained. Some nights are not meant to be explored, And sometimes the warnings we ignore are the ones that save our lives. If you enjoyed this horror story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more scary and mysterious stories.